What up, Bulls Nation? We've got a live CHGO Bulls podcast coming up right now. On today's show, plus minus, trends we like and trends we don't with our beloved Bulls over the last week or so. Plus, the latest trade rumors going around the NBA and those tied to the Bulls. Zion Williamson might be off the table, but what about Yves Missi? Bulls center of the future? And what are the Warriors planning to do now with the Kuminga trade demand and the Jimmy season-ending injury? We'll round things out with a look at all-star voting and talk about whether or not Josh Giddey has an outside shot to get one of those reserve spots next. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into the CHGO Bulls podcast. Coming to you live from our CHGO Xfinity Loft here in downtown Chicago. CHGO Bulls presented by Michelob Ultra and Bet365. The delicious taste of victory deserves something equally superior. So cheer on your team with Michelob Ultra and download the Bet365 app with code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm Peck, Bulls _ Peck. That is Big Day. Bow. BAWL Sports, Will the Go Gottlieb, Will _ Gottlieb, and King of the Controls back with us, Joey C.
Good to see you, boys. Missed you, boys.
Missed you last night.
Have a little Wednesday show. I know all the cool stuff happens when I'm not around. Like the Bulls kick the crap out of a team.
Franchise threes.
PCA and Caleb, Bromance.
Mm-hmm. Delightful stuff.
All that and more at the UC.
You discussed that on your CHGO Cubs podcast as well. So.
We dipped into a little bit.
I heard you and Stucky talking about the gloriousness of the Bedard, PCA, Caleb, like bromance right now.
And I forgot to bat for Modest a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. I forgot to ask him last night why he didn't get the invite, or like why didn't he get to go with them to the? Because he was hanging out with them this summer. He like went to Lollapalooza with Caleb.
Yeah.
He did.
You were talking to Modest in Summer League about how he and Caleb already have a little bit of a friendship growing. So
yeah, and then Caleb retweeted it. So shout out to that.
Boom.
That's a flex.
Boom.
That
Major
is a flex. Right there.
I said last night too. It feels like that PCA and Caleb went to the Hawks game. And one of them crashed at the other dude's house and started watching like the John Wick franchise. And they woke up and they're like, let's
Step
just
Brothers.
Let's just run it back. Let's keep watching movies.
I mean,
we'll go to the
best
Bulls
weekend
game.
of our lives.
that is a bros in their 20s move for sure.
It's a bros.
I pulled that move.
I pulled off. And also,
multi-millionaire bros.
you all are really missing out when Joey C picks up that microphone and gives that lean and he's about to talk. It is something to behold and watch that I look forward to every time he does it, because it doesn't matter what he's doing. When his name is called, snatched up, man, like he's Sammy Davis Jr., baby. Like, hello, ready to go. I am impressed, man. Every time I see it, I look forward to it.
Joey lean in.
Joey lean in, baby.
All right, let's kick things off with some plus minus, shall we, Bulls Nation? By the way, thanks for hanging out with us. If you're in that YouTube chat, hit the like button. It's free. Plus minus is brought to you by our friends at Michelob Ultra. Of course, shout out again to them.
Yes.
I am going to start off, why not, with what I liked about the Bulls over the last handful of games.
You're going to start off with your plus minus.
That's right. And look, this is something that the Bulls have been doing fairly well all season long, but in this recent stretch, even more specifically, it has been off the charts, and that is their assist to turnover ratio. This season, they are fourth in the NBA on the season as a whole with a 2.11 assist to turnover ratio.
Impressive.
That's pretty good. Over the last 10 games the Bulls have played, that is at 2.65, best mark in the league.
That's saying something, ladies and gents.
Shout out to everybody who has picked up the slack collectively
Collective
in the absence of Josh Giddey, whether you're talking about Kobe or Io or Trey or even Vooch and Herter, who have bumped up their assist numbers over the last 10 games or so.
True.
Of keeping that ball protected when you have it and keeping the ball moving on offense.
Yes.
We're on the heels of 2 straight games where the Bulls had 40-plus team assists.
Yes.
And they're also limiting turnovers.
Yes.
It's one of those margins of error that Billy talks about and Goat relays all the time. The Bulls want to win the turnover battle, win the points off turnovers battle, and not get exposed with their transition defense, but expose their opponent's transition defense. You got to protect the ball.
It's important.
And they are doing that very well over the last couple weeks. Shout out to them.
I think that's such a good one. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like it's a knock on Giddey because obviously he's got the turnover issue. But they like that's how they've had to play without him. Is like every possession matters more because you don't have somebody generating good paint touches on a consistent level. We've talked about it being a team that really only has one way to score, which is off the assist, as opposed to being able to create off the dribble and score in isolation. They don't have those guys, so they have to generate a lot of assists, and they have to be really careful about not turning the ball over. So I think this is I think it says something about the way that the roster is constructed, but it also is a testament to them executing the way that they need to play at a very high level over these last few weeks. And I was looking at that one too, so I think that's a great one.
That's impressive. And while you're saying that, I'm sitting here looking over these last 10 games just because I wanted to look at Trey Jones and just what he does. And, you know, I feel he's the best pure point guard on the team.
Yep.
I'm just looking at the turnovers here. What's it? 2, 1, 1, 3, 0, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1.
And in a lot of those games, he's hitting double digits on assists.
Yeah, and that's also including a game where he had like 30-something points in the game. And, like, he's just impressive, bro. Like, I am super impressed every time he's on the floor for the Chicago Bulls. He calms it down. He knows how to attack. He can get to the paint as well. He knows leverage. He does that really well. And he uses his size really well, man. But best pure point guard on the team, bro. Like, numbers ain't going to lie to you on that.
And speaking of numbers never lying, my minus for the week is also at a team-wide perspective, not one individual player. And kind of conversely to something the Bulls have done well all season and have been excellent at over the last recent stretch. This is something the Bulls have not done well at any point this season, but they've been even worse in this recent stretch, and that is free throw attempt rate.
Okay.
The Bulls on the season are 27th in the NBA with a .238 free throw attempt rate. It has never been a big piece of what they're trying to do offensively every night, getting to the free throw line. Whether you're talking about Kobe, Josh, Modest, Vooch, whomever. But in the last 10 games, that free throw rate is dead last at .165. I think I saw somebody in our comments mentioning it in postgame last night. Like, the Bulls have had this long recent stretch of games where I'll look down and be like, the Bulls shot 9 free throws tonight. Or the Bulls shot 8 free throws tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, the Bulls shot 12 free throws tonight. Like, and again,
Spicy.
that you could point to Giddey's absence on that because he has done a good job of getting to the free throw line more than he has at any point in his career this season. So that is missed. But, and, you know, maybe they're just exposing defenses in other ways and they don't feel the need. And gee, I mean, if you're hitting 20-plus threes in your wins on a routine basis, then you don't need the free throw line trips. But still, I always like it as a bread and butter piece of any offense in this league. Dave, you talk about it being a thing that separates stars from superstars in this league and relying on that part of an offense from your star player. The Bulls just aren't really getting that from anybody right now.
No, and I love that you brought up Josh Giddey in that because that is absolutely something that he does very, very well. Is generate those fouls, especially when the Bulls go on a stretch where they can't score. Giddey was always one outside of Ayo who puts his head down and gets to the bucket, things like that, but he doesn't generate those fouls when he's doing that. But Giddey absolutely draws those fouls using his size, using his body, and just his attack mind state that he has every time he's going to the rim. Like he draws that kind of confusion on the defense where they've got to say, we got to stop this big old dude from continuing to run up in here. Somebody throw an elbow at him. Like, my God. So, yeah, you definitely missed that with Josh Giddey, and you'll be getting that back soon from him, man. But, yeah, man, we've harped on the free throws, and more specifically on Modest Uzelis.
He only took 2 last night.
Getting to the free throw line, man. It has to be more if the Bulls want to continue doing what they're doing, because I understand they're a team that can get out and run and things like that. But when it slows down, everybody's shot doesn't fall all the time. It's going to slow down. And when it does that, the free throws are the best way to score in those instances.
Yeah, you guys hit on it. I mean, I think Giddey being the highest volume free throw guy on the team, there's no surprises there why it would dip. But this is why after the Nets game, we talked about Kobe shooting, what was it, like 9 of his 11 field goal attempts, or like all but 2, whatever the numbers were. I don't remember off the top of my head. Being from 3, and how, it's great when he's making those, but to your point, Dave, he's got to be able to generate those shots at the line to become a really efficient scorer. I think you look at somebody like Ayo, he's able to beat guys off the dribble and just beat them in a straight line, and he beats them to the glass too. Like he gets that shot off quickly. He's like a below the rim finisher in that way because it's really quick and explosive. Giddey isn't like that. And as a result, he needs to be more physical when he drives and go through guys and get that contact and get to the line. And credit to him, he's done that. So obviously that will be a huge benefit to them when Giddey gets back. But we talk about Mattis all the time. You guys want to see 6 free throw attempts per game from him. Like that's a thing that needs to happen. All these guys, I mean, these are extra possessions. These are easy points that you can generate that just juice your offense. And we talk about a team that can't really create. These are the ways that you can help keep yourself afloat.
Yeah.
Juice the offense. I like that. Big Dave, what do we got?
For me, I went players on mine on this one. The first one I went with was one young and very awesome Chicago guy, Ayo Dosunmu.
Shout out.
He has been just on another level, especially these past 10 games. Like
shooting the lights out.
He has been outstanding. Like in his last 10 games, he's had one game where he hasn't scored 15 or more points.
Wow.
One. And that was against the Rockets. He scored 7 in that game. And also, this is ridiculous. He's averaging those games 17 points, 16.9, 17 points, 2.6 rebounds, 4.6 assists, averaging a steal, 1 turnover. He's doing this in 26 minutes. Do you know what this man's true shooting percentage is? It's 70.6.
Yes, let's go, Ayo. I love a true shooting percentage number that begins with a 7.
Yeah, bro.
His average this year is like 58.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I was going next. 58, 55, 84. That's what he's putting up right now.
Woo.
That's the splits right now for Ayo. He has just been uncanny, unworldly, and godly in what he's doing out there on the floor, especially with the true shooting percentage, man. So big shout out to Ayo Dosunmu.
I got nothing to add to that. That was perfect.
Same.
He was great.
Beautiful. Keep it up, Ayo. All right. Who are you dragging?
The minus. We're going to go with Isaac Okoro's
three-point
shooting.
Fred.
Yeah.
Oh.
Pay attention to me, T-Red Fred. Fred, shout out to him for pointing out the Bulls are 20-15 when Isaac Okoro starts, which is awesome. But that three-point shooting from Isaac Okoro has been more poopy than usual.
Did it dip?
Dipped a little bit, Matt Peck. He's had, in his last 3 games, he is over from the three-point line. That's his first time doing that this season, going 3 straight games and not hitting a three-point shot. He is shooting 32% from the three-point line. That is his worst percentage since his rookie season.
On the year?
On the year.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's his worst since his rookie season where he shot 29%. So it's not clicking for him from the three-point line. He definitely is impacting, winning because he's playing defense and things like that. But I don't like the fact that it's making him more of a one-dimensional kind of guy because teams will start figuring that out, you know what I mean, and start attacking that aspect like, oh, all you do is this. Well, we'll try to draw fouls on you and get you out of the ball game, and we're not worried about you at all on the offensive end. So that has to improve, and it only has to improve as far as the three-point shooting. He's not going to be a guy that's going to get to the bucket and do those kind of things like that. He can, but he doesn't have that kind of bag. What he's going to have is wide open three-point shots, and he's got to start knocking a few more down than usual because it could be in the 30s and low 30s, but it can't be your worst since your rookie season when you came in and everybody knew you couldn't shoot those threes. It's got to be better.
Yeah, and the volume has been down too. Last year, 56% of his shots, 56.6% of his shots were three-pointers. This year, only 45.9. So that's way down. And it's more in line with even some of his earlier career numbers, 44.8 the year before in 23-24, 48.3 in 22-23. And I think the fact that he's not shooting them, it's not the end of the world because I think he's doing a pretty good job of moving off the ball, cutting, offensive rebounding. Like he is doing other stuff. But when he's not willing to take those, it puts you in a position where you, if you're the Clippers last night, can put a Ivica Zubac on him and keep him basically out of the equation. And you can kind of play off of him and play free safety and keep your big towards the basket. And now the Bulls have to play 5-on-4 or he's just got to start taking and making those shots. So I agree with you. I think it's a cold spell. I think he will come back to life a little bit there, but the fact that it's inconsistent up and down, the fact that the volume is down, I think those are other indicators that to me are just telling me this is maybe not somebody who's like on this trajectory of becoming like an elite shooter, like some of these other role player guys.
It's why that some people had the valid concern of like, did AK just go out and get another one-way player to add to this roster filled with one-way players?
Yeah.
Hey, he's a great defensive specialist. Okay, can he knock down his open threes?
Yeah, it's important. It's important.
And 32% I wouldn't say that fits the bill in believing that can be a two-way player on your roster that you're starting and relying on every night.
And if you're 20 and 15 when he starts, I'm just saying, we talked about Billy Donovan having issues now about who's going to be in the starting lineup. And if Billy is knowing that you can't shoot and things like that, it's going to be conditional if he starts the starting lineup, man. So just something to look at.
On that note, we got to knock out our first ad break. When we come back, we will get GOATs plus and minus and then dive into some of the latest trade slop going around the NBA. While you're listening to these words from our sponsors, hit the like button. It's free. BRB.
Hey, Julia.
CHGO Bulls is brought to you by Bet365. And right now, you can be a winner if your football team goes up by 17 points with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. Download the Bet365 app today with promo code CHGO365 when you sign up, because when you do that and place your first $5 bet on, I don't know, maybe NFC or AFC championship games, maybe some Bulls hoops, maybe some hockey, whatever you want, place a $5 bet and you will see $200 in bonus bets deposited right into your account. Win or lose the bet, don't matter. And you can use those bonus bet dollars on just about everything. Spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. So what are you waiting for? Download the app. Remember that promo code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER.
Winter's here.
Winter.
I was outside shoveling 3 different walks.
Ugh.
One glove on like I was Michael Jackson because I don't have gloves. So it's very, very cold. It is incredibly cold. But when I went inside, the warmth that washed over me was not just because I'm hot all the time. It's because my home is heated by 4 seasons, y'all. They are amazing. They got your back. Your home heating is up for a challenge, problems, issues? Call 4 Seasons, man. Get that thing tuned up and get it going and get it right. You can save up to $4,000 on furnaces and comfort systems with 4 Seasons heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electric. Furnaces start at $39 a month, and furnace AC combos start at $57 a month. Call today, save $50 from your trusted local experts. 4 Seasons heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electric. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Over 50 years. And we're sponsored by 4 Seasons, your trusted local experts. 4 Seasons heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electric. You can visit them at 4seasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. 4 Seasons heatingcooling.com.
CHGO Bulls podcast rolling along here on Wednesday afternoon. Peck, Big Dave, Goat, Joey C on the controls. All right, Goat, you are up. Plus minus time. What do you like?
I like the way that they played over the last 2 weeks.
Hey.
The last 2 weeks, the Bulls are 4-3, which doesn't sound that great because it's like a game above 500. But as we know, this team is always 3 games below 500.
That's the upside of mid as opposed to the backside of mid.
It's true.
But plus 7.6 point differential, which is 5th in the NBA. That's outstanding. 4th on offense, 13th on defense. That's incredibly impressive that they've been able to lock in and defend at a high level when a lot of people were talking about Zach Collins being their best defender. He's been out.
Shout out Vooch blocks.
Vooch has been outstanding.
He has.
Jalen Smith has been a revelation in both the power forward and the backup center spot. They're 4th in effective field goal percentage, 3rd in turnover percentage, as you mentioned. They're just not turning it over, and then they're shooting at an incredibly high level. 4th in effective field goal, as I mentioned, 38.8% on threes, 72% at the rim, which sounds really high, is 10th in the league. But on the season, they're 63.7%. So they're up almost 9% on shots at the rim. Over the course of the season, they're 27th. So that's another huge improvement. And, you know, we'll see if they can sustain it. We'll see what it looks like when Giddey gets back into the lineup. All these games have happened without him. And I wonder kind of how much of that can sustain. And that's kind of leading me into my minus, which is not really a minus, but just the other side of that coin, I think. More so than anything,
a bit of a foreboding.
Exactly, a foreboding. Over the next 2 weeks, you have 8 games until the trade deadline. 3 at home, 5 on the road. You've got the Wolves, the Celtics, the Lakers, who are probably going to be out for revenge after what the Bulls did to them last year. You've got a away home back-to-back with the Pacers and Heat, and then another back-to-back, both in Miami. And that completes the 3 games in 4 nights. And then... And 4 and 5 nights, rather.
Yeah, 4 and 5.
And then you've got the Bucks, who are trying like hell to not be a team that misses the play-in tournament.
True.
Where Giannis is going to ask out. So
with Giannis,
the reason that I put this on the other side of the coin is just it makes you wonder how Arturas is going to view the trade deadline, which I mentioned being 2 weeks and 1 day away from now. Is he going to look at this stretch and say, the Bulls were, 5-3. They competed with some really good teams. Let's hold it together. Or the Bulls were 2-6 and they stunk against these good teams. And now, I don't know how much of this is going to inform his decision-making when it comes to the trade deadline, and how much of that stuff is just bigger picture. This is what we know about this team. You can sit there at the end of last season and say 15-5 down the stretch. We like how we played.
Fake.
We're going to continue to keep it together and see how it looks. Okay, fine. That's great. Well, guess what? 43 games into the season, you're 21-22. So how do the sample sizes matter here? And what does the recency bias, how does that factor into things? Because I feel like more so than you hear people a lot say, like, the Bulls need to pick a direction. Yeah. To me, it's less about a direction. I think clearly the direction is like they're trying to stay competitive. That's the direction. But to me, it's less about the direction and more about the path that they're on. To me, it feels like they are just maxing out their current standing in the NBA, trying to be the very best version of themselves that they can, which is a team that takes care of the ball, that doesn't have a high ceiling and doesn't have a low floor. But can you think about that and think about it in the sense that Ben Johnson was talking about today? Like, they got to start over from scratch tomorrow. Yeah. This is not like a situation where you're just like as good as you were and now you're building on that. Like, what are the Bulls building towards? Are they looking at a team that has a future other than they're just going to try their hardest to win every game in front of them? I think there needs to be more of a path in that sense. I hope the distinction I'm trying to make there makes sense. But that's kind of what I'm looking for in the next 2 weeks is, are they going to define a trajectory or a path, and how will we respond when they don't?
Tommy, talk about a striking dissimilarity.
In at the buzzer.
That was a joke, but all jokes come from a place.
He goes 2-1 in his first year against their bitter rival, who they have been owned by for 30 years. They beat that team in the playoffs. They're 1 or 2 plays away from going to the NFC Championship game. Yeah. Ben Johnson goes, not good enough. Yeah. And then there's the Bulls, who are like, play-in, who's ready? Everybody get your play-in T-shirts. Oh, God. Barf. Okay. I don't know if I think that AK will make drastic changes in his plans or approach based on how the Bulls perform over the next 2 weeks between now and deadline day. I would like to believe that he already has his mind made up because he's finally faced realities of a certain degree. I doubt that highly. Yeah. But speaking of which, it's time to take the temp, y'all. Let's take the temp of the nearest trade talk going around the league. Taking the temp is brought to you by our friends at Four Seasons, your trusted local experts at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com. So, we mentioned the other day that in one of the latest pieces of reporting from GOAT's BFF on the beat, Joe Cowley, that there's still maybe some smoke around Minnesota and the Bulls talking. Okay. And not just about Kobe White, but perhaps also that they're interested in knowing the asking price of one Dosunmu and or Trey Jones. Okay. Also in that same report that we haven't touched on yet, we wanted to get to today, and Joey, you can throw up that pull quote right now if you want. Cowley thusly said, the Sun-Times confirmed a report that the Bulls have had ongoing talks with the Pelicans about players such as forward Zion Williamson and center Yves Missi. While the chatter around Williamson has quieted on the Pelicans' end, there has been momentum around Missi. The question is, at what cost? Cowley went on to say, the Pelicans are willing to trade him, but are not going to give him away. This is an interesting one because Bulls fans always wonder, what is this team's front court plan after Vooch? If there ever is an after Vooch. He might be the Bulls starting center until he's 68 years old. Who knows? But if Zion is off the table, and there have been some reports stating that, and like some other pieces of theirs, like Trey Jones, or not Trey Jones, Trey Murphy, you can't have him. Yeah. This guy, you can't have him. But Missi's an interesting piece, and Cowley also made note of the fact that his role has kind of decreased a little bit for the Pelicans this year. It has. So that points to somebody that might be willing to part ways with.
Yeah, I'd be with it. I mean, obviously, I'm with any young talent that the Bulls can get and try to get in here, especially when they're devoid of it, especially at that position. The injury, I think, of Zach Collins kind of vaulted this into the forefront for AK, in my opinion. This is just my opinion on that. And also, it kind of tells me about Zach Collins, you know what I'm saying, as well. But yeah, man, like I think it would be a good move if they can pull it off. Obviously, they are not just gonna give him to you like they actually said, but knowing that he's on that decline as far as minutes is concerned, as far as usage on this team right here, and being 21 years old, he kind of fits in exactly with what the Bulls are trying to do, and he feels a need, a huge, huge need that they have, not just being a center, but that center like presence of one that they need, and also athletic on top of that. So. It could work. I like it. I'm curious what the Ghost feels on this. He's who we go to for all our trade stuff. So I will hand that over to that young man.
Well, thank you, sir. Mm-hmm. I like Yves Missi. I think he's very much in the mold of like a Daniel Gafford type, where it's like rim roll,
talk slow,
lob finish, rim protect. He's not really a floor spacer whatsoever. He's still a very young player, and I think he's trying to figure out at this point in the league how to really make an impact defensively beyond just blocks.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times, and we do this with Mata sometimes too, where it's like you see the blocks and you think elite defender, and there's so much more to defense than just can you collect a few blocks per game or 1 point, whatever it is for him. So I think he needs to continue to learn the league, learn defensive schemes and how he can impact things. But I've wondered for a while if the Bulls should go, especially with Josh Giddey and Trey Jones now in the backcourt, should they go for more of a traditional lob threat at the center spot that can just catch lobs and get dunks and be athletic? I think that would certainly change some things from how they're playing now with Jalen Smith and Vooch, who are very much stretch bigs, who do not roll really hard. And you think about the geometry of the floor where Vooch is basically going like, block to 3-point line. Somebody like Yves Missi would have to run the entire court. He'd have to go block to block.
Yeah.
And that's a different thing, different strategy in terms of coaching and scheme and all of it. So I think he's a nice young player. I can see why a team like the Bulls would be interested for sure. I don't think he's like a franchise-changing player very much. And I also wonder why the Pelicans would really even be interested in moving off of him. He's cheap. He's cost-controlled. Maybe you feel like you can get a pick for him. I don't really feel like the Bulls should be giving up picks for anybody right now.
Facts.
Maybe it's kind of speculative because they draft their queen and the two of them don't really fit together. If I'm the Pelicans, though, maybe I don't trade Zion by the deadline, but I think they're moving him by next offseason. They don't have their own pick here this year, obviously, so there's not real incentive to move him right away. Even with some of the incentive structure in his contract and the weigh-in clauses and the guarantees and all this stuff, if they can get something for Zion, I think they'll do it this summer at the latest. And I think obviously he's somebody, even with the ups and downs and the question marks and all of it with him, that's somebody I would prefer the Bulls go after because there's way more upside, even with the risk. But I think if you're looking at just like a cheap backup center, maybe for next year, if Vooch walks and Collins walks and you have Jalen Smith, you bring Yves Missi in and he and Jalen can kind of split that time. I think that makes sense.
Well,
I just wouldn't be giving up a lot to go get him.
And not even just with Jalen. I'm thinking Josh Giddey in my head when I'm thinking of this because I just see lobs all day. From these two young men. And also when I'm thinking of Modest, I'm just thinking block shots all day from these two young men. And even with Jalen, as you mentioned, like it could honestly be entertaining and work well just by the style, that the Bulls play. So stylistically, I think it works.
Yeah, when I think of like Josh Giddey, I think of like Daniel Gafford, Tyson Chandler, just guys that are just cleaning up and just helping out on the back end when he's making those drives.
Right.
Just quick follow-up, really quick. When it comes to the Pelicans and Zion, though, if Zion is healthy at the deadline, and if it already is in your near-term plan to try and move off of him, they would almost have to do that move at the deadline, wouldn't they? Like, would they really roll the dice with Zion Williamson not tearing a hamstring or needing some sort of version of a surgery into the summer? Like, if he is healthy at the deadline, doesn't that add more incentive and more of a pressure for them to get off of him?
Yes, for sure. I think if they get a good offer, they would be open to trading him.
Sure.
I don't think that they're going to be in a situation where, because they don't have their pick, they're just going to take expiring money for him. I think this offseason, that becomes a little bit more palatable. They have control of their pick going into next year. They don't have to worry about the optics of selling off in a season where you're giving up already a top 5 pick. So if they get a good offer for Zion, I think they would probably do it. I think that signal, I think it was from Chris Haynes, was saying that they're not interested in moving those guys. I think that's more like they're not liking the offers they're getting right now, so let's just like try to shut this down or like tell people to come correct. So I think they will move him. I think it's a matter of time, but to your point, Joey, I think he is very much a ticking time bomb with the hamstrings, and so you should capitalize while you have the chance.
Real quick before we break, something else that Cowley pointed out is that Pelicans might also be looking to get off of the final year of Jordan Poole's deal in a pre-deadline move of some kind.
Just take back some bad money.
Dude, I'm saying. So he's making $34 million next season. Good for Jordan Poole. That is the last year of his contract. And the Bulls have the expiring contracts to get to that number.
Yeah.
I think like, hey, sure, why not deal, with a year of entertaining Jordan Poole chaos as a Bulls fan?
Yeah.
If it gives you blank. If that blank were also Zion Williamson's coming to Chicago, okay.
Deal.
If you got to do that just to get Yves Missi, I'm less enthused with that idea.
Missi, no.
There's a couple of comments in here about Walker Kessler and Johan Berger. Let's get to those maybe.
We can get to those after this ad break,
cooking.
as well as a little bit of stuff on the Warriors. That's all still ahead. Hit that like button. It's free. We'll be right back. CHGO Bulls is brought to you by Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. Let's talk about your next weekend escape, or maybe just your next big night out. Because Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee has everything you need in one spot. We're talking thousands of the latest slots and table games. Shout out Vegas Bathurst. Ready to refuel? You've got tons of amazing restaurants and bars to choose from. Whether you're feeling fancy, getting dressed up, or you just want a quick bite, they've got you covered either way. Maybe you don't even feel like leaving your room. Leaving the property, you don't have to. Stay in style in their luxury hotel. It is, however, just steps away from what many call the Midwest's best sports book. Maybe you're heading to Bucks Bulls later this season. Start your day right at Potawatomi, hit the sports book, bet some money on Kobe White to hit a bunch of threes.
He does that.
Then head to the game. It's all right there. Super convenient. Milwaukee's got a full winter lineup, not just of games, but concerts, festivals, and more. Potawatomi is the perfect home base for all of it. Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. Your win is waiting. So go check it out.
I've had a lot of dreams in my life. I've achieved a lot of those dreams in my life. And one of the dreams, it was a super flex. One of those dreams I absolutely had was having my own business, running my own business, ladies and gentlemen. And when I got to achieve that, who I hit up to make sure the merchandise was right? It was Shopify. Cha-ching. They had it correctified in my situation. And so they take care of you too. Shopify, that e-commerce platform behind millions and millions of businesses around the world, and 10% of all e-commerce in the United States of America, that's here. Shopify even powers the CHGO merch store. So guess what? Bow, CHGO merch store. Bow, CHGO merch store, powered by Shopify. They are awesome. So guess what? You can turn that big business idea into cold hard paper with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity.
CHGO Bulls pod rolling along on Wednesday. Thanks for being here, Bulls Nation. Hit the like button if you didn't do it during the ad break. Go. You said there were a couple people in the chat talking about other trade ideas you wanted to address?
Yes, I did. I saw something about Walker Kessler. I
Texas
saw something
Ranger?
about picks for Johan Berger. Jerry, if you just want to throw some of those up. But the reason I wanted to bring up Kessler is because I think when we talk about the Bulls' plan and what they're doing here in terms of their flexibility, the thing that I think makes probably the most sense here is if you can't get anything done for these expiring contracts to take on money at the deadline into next season, the move is probably going to be throwing an offer sheet at some of these restricted free agents. So you think about Walker Kessler in Utah, restricted free agent, a team that's going to have plenty of money to be able to re-sign him, but maybe you just make them sweat a little bit or make them give him a bad offer sheet. Mm-hmm. You look at the Suns with Mark Williams, a guy who is playing really well, has had health and injury-related issues for his whole career, but this is a team that is going to be extremely expensive. Do they want to pay somebody who's got those type of question marks $30 million a year? I don't know the answer to that. Jalen Duren, obviously the Pistons are having a great year. Duren is maybe going to be an all-star. At the very least, will be in consideration. He's been fantastic. Would you throw a big offer sheet at them and maybe put the Pistons in a position where now their cap sheet is going to have to be pretty tight because they've got to pay a max to Jalen Duren and Cade Cunningham, and that puts them in a position where they can't really go out and sign other guys.
Right.
So I think those are the type of free agent moves, whether it's center, you talk about those three, or whether it's Anthony Black with the Orlando Magic. How on earth are they going to afford to pay him and Desmond Bane and Jalen Suggs and Franz Wagner and Paulo Banchero? It doesn't really add up without going deep into the second apron, and I'm not sure a smaller market team is going to want to do that.
It's true.
So to me, that's kind of the play here is look at what do you need, what are the young players around the league that can fit your timeline that you're working with, how can you add to them, Now, the downside of this is you're probably going to have to give them a bad contract. But if they're young players with upside, maybe you feel okay about that because you've got Giddey making $25 million and because you have so much space. So that's probably the Bulls' best bet when it comes to offseason moves if they can't get anything done at the trade deadline to try to take on some money for picks.
The best bet for them, take on that money if you can't get those picks. This man's talking and spitting over here and has been saying this for a while.
Yeah,
just want to point that part
there's
out.
still one hang up, which is that you or anyone out there somehow convincing AK that possessing more than just your own team's draft picks when you are where they are in development of a roster is a good thing.
He didn't say it'd be easy. He said it's the right move.
It is impossible. You can lead a horse to water.
It is.
But that's exactly what I've been.
Take it to Hawaii.
That's exactly what I've been talking about this whole time. Is the gravity of this upcoming 6 months. This is the time where you can make some moves. Okay, you had DeMar and Zach and Lonzo's dead money on your books.
Sure.
You couldn't really do anything. There's plenty of things you could do, but they chose not to because they wanted to remain competitive. Now you're set up for flexibility, and Arturas has been saying this for the last 18 months. They're going to have flexibility. They're going to have all this financial freedom that they can work with. Now, if you just let these guys expire or bring them back, that's going to say what you're really about, which is not being serious about building a team that's going anywhere. So that's why I think this next 6 months is so important. That's why I've been talking about different ways that they can potentially change their roster.
Yes.
You can go out and put together expiring contracts for a guy like Anthony Davis or one of these star players who's overpaid to take them off another team's book and kind of get a talent in here relatively cheap in terms of a trade in a way that maybe 3 or 4 years ago in the old CBA you wouldn't have been able to because the aprons weren't so restrictive. But now you could say, here, expiring contracts is basically the same as a first-round pick, take it or leave it, and maybe get a guy. You can go the other way and take on longer-term money and get picks out of it. You could go a more patient approach and wait until the offseason and throw these offer sheets. But if they don't do any of these things, it's like, how do you... What are you telling the fan base after that? Okay, we need time for patience. We need to build this thing the right way. If you don't do anything with that, then what's the spin? I don't know that there is one.
Before you go on, Matt, shout out to over 100 people in chat checking us out. Hit the like button. 20 of y'all have hit it. It's very easy. It's right there. It's a thumb. Press it. We appreciate it. We thank y'all for hanging out with us, man, and absorbing all this awesome knowledge that this gentleman over here is spitting. But hit the like button.
If you're watching on your phone and you got your phone vert, you do have to hit the X out of the live chat for just a second to then have that thumb appear.
Yeah.
Hit it. Then bring the live chat back up.
That's it. Thank y'all.
Staying on trades, but shifting gears slightly, Lee Taylor in the chat saying Portland pick and Vooch, the price for Jonathan Kuminga. So obviously the Warriors are in a tizzy of a situation themselves.
Oh, not a tizzy.
That's right. Shams broke late Monday night, like middle of the night Monday night, that Jimmy Butler has a season-ending ACL tear.
Sorry.
Sad for Jimmy, bummer for Jimmy. You know,
for Jimmy.
nothing but positive vibes in Jimmy's direction.
Yeah.
With that, and also knowing that Kuminga, the day he became trade eligible, made it known that he would like a trade. Does the Jimmy injury impact what their plans were or ideal plans were for Kuminga is the question that a lot of people are asking.
That's a great
because
question.
there's a few different things that the Warriors, Dunleavy, Kerr, and the crew can think about. Okay, Jimmy's done for the year, and we were kind of mid with Jimmy. Do we pivot to focusing on next season, and what are we looking for in a Kuminga trade based on that? Or do they say, Jimmy's down, Kuminga, we can actually make greater use of you now. We need you now. Sorry, we'll decline the team option at the end of this season, but let's actually give you some run now and choose not to trade him. Or do they still want to go for it because Steph Curry, because aging roster, closing championship window, and make some kind of bold move to add star talent for the final third of the season and involve Kuminga in such a trade somehow? Like, there's a lot of different avenues that the Warriors can decide to go down.
My first thought is to allow Kuminga to play and give him an opportunity. Even if you're telling yourself as an organization, we're not keeping him, holding on to him, well, then you give him an opportunity to showcase. You put him out there and you let him play and you let the other team see what he can or cannot do and see if that raises that kind of value for him. Because I don't think that he can play to a point where the demand for him will go away. I think teams are going to feel how they feel about him at this point in time. I mean, obviously, unless he, just, start shooting like Isaac Okoro or something. But it has to be really bad for it to just be just nothing there. Nobody wants him. And I don't think that's going to be the case. He's too good of a basketball player for that to happen. So I think that's the move I would do. I would allow him to play. I would see what it looks like. Obviously, you would have that discussion in your locker room with Steve Kerr and the rest of the guys about whatever is going on and the reason that he is not playing. Well, now I need you. You got to play ball now. We need to have this conversation about going forward. And I don't think, Matt, that they're in a position in any season where you're taking that year off. I think that you're in a position every year where you're trying to get a championship. Not make a deep playoff run, but trying to get a championship because you have Steph Curry on your basketball team. That is not a year off kind of player right there. So that's why you play Kuminga, in my opinion. And if you play him to the point where the demand gets higher, make a trade, get your big piece back that you want, and you go for your championship in that kind of way.
100% agree with you. I think the Kuminga thing is tough right now, but they really have a 2-week runway where they can put him on display and see if you can drum up some interest around the league. Because right now, there's not any. Mike Dunleavy had an incredible quote last night about the Jonathan Kuminga trade demand. He said, quote, "I'm aware of that. In terms of demands, when you make a demand, there needs to be demand."
Woo! In all its splendor, Mike Dunleavy.
Glory. But I think what that tells you is they would be fine moving him. And he even said, they tell players they want to work with them. I don't think they're doing it in terms of trying to be hostile, but they need to do what's best for themselves too. And I think putting him on display and seeing if that can drum up any interest can only be good for them. Now, I don't think that they're going to be one of those teams that just goes out and trades multiple first-round picks right now, because as is true with some of these other teams, nobody's really trying to empty the clip when Giannis could potentially be available. And so if I'm the Warriors, I'm still holding out hope that I can trade Jimmy and Kuminga and all my picks for Giannis and whatever the Bucks want to give you. Ideally, it's Miles Turner, but I don't know if that's going to be doable. But same thing for the Hawks. They're going to be waiting around to see if Giannis becomes available. Same thing for the Heat. They're waiting. And so that's really holding up the trade marketplace where, maybe somebody wants to – I think the thing that we led into this was Vooch and the Portland pick for Kuminga. I just don't think that the Warriors are ready to do that until they know what's going to happen with Giannis. I wouldn't trade any picks for Kuminga right now. I just wouldn't want any part of it because I don't think he's worth the trouble. And clearly there's no demand for him right now, so I don't think you need to. And if they just want to go out and get another player and then deal with Jimmy later, I think they could do that. And maybe Vooch helps them, but I'm just not giving up picks to go get that guy. Even if he plays really well over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, with the Portland pick specifically, just in that hypothetical, at various points in the past, that's the pick that I always was more willing as a Bulls fan to consider including in trades, regardless of whether it's this one or any hypothetical trade, because it never felt real to me.
I understand.
Since the Lowry sign-in trade, I'm like, we're never getting that pick, and they haven't. But man, there is a real non-zero chance for the Blazers to make the playoffs this year.
It's true.
And then all of a sudden that pick becomes real.
Yeah, it does.
Which makes me want to trade it a lot less. So
what team is ahead of them in the play-in standings right now?
Golden State.
The Warriors?
The Warriors.
Come out and play.
The Blazers have won 8 out of the last 10, 3 in a row.
Ooh, let's go.
That pick, I mean, that could be
Danny Avdia.
That could be the 15th or 16th pick in this draft.
Wow.
Easily. And I think
right where the Bulls like them.
Yeah, I mean but 2 picks in the teens or the low teens, I mean that would just be huge setting up this team moving forward. You have all this extra space and you have 4 guys on rookie scale contracts, Modest, Noah, and 2 picks in this upcoming draft. I mean that is just fantastic if that does, especially in a draft that's so strong. That could really help change the fortunes of this team. So I think that could really convey, and I don't know that I'd be willing to trade that. I would be willing to trade it, but not for somebody like Kuminga, who is already making 22 and is going to want much more than that.
Yeah.
Just fascinating to find out what happens with him. But you're right about the whole Giannis thing. Wait, was it Wendy who said on some show or some pod recently that there's some teams around the league who have some plans in place but are putting a pin in them until
I mean, and it might not be
until the Giannis question is answered.
It might not be until the offseason. And so I think a lot of these trades are just going to be held up for even into next trade deadline.
With that, we got to knock out one more quick ad break. When we come back on the other side, sneak peek of an interview we're going to drop on Friday, and talking all-star voting and outside shot for Josh Giddey to still make the all-star team. Hit the like button. It's free. We'll be right back.
Craggy.
CHGO Bulls is brought to you by Ray. Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and right now is your chance to score a great deal at the Ray Resolution Sales Event. Head to Ray CDJR on Route 12 in Fox Lake to choose from their huge inventory on new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. Right now, you can get 0% financing for 72 months, plus no payments until spring on new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram models. Plus, shop over 125 vehicles, all priced under $20,000. And with that raised price promise, you know you can shop confidently knowing that the price you see is the price you will pay. No hidden fees, no add-ons, no last-minute adds to that tab. Never, ever. That's the raised price promise. So go check out our partner today. They're on Route 12 in Fox Lake. You can also visit them at raycdjr.com. They are the only team we recommend because they've been serving the community.
Since when?
Since 1963.
Matt Peck, what time is it?
Get out!
Yes. We love Game Time over here. I know I especially love Game Time. The fees are always included in that total upfront pricing. No surprise fees at checkout, ladies and gentlemen, because, you know, them other people will do that to you sometimes. Game Time will not. They got the zone deals, y'all, where, guess what? You choose a section, Game Time does the selecting, and you will save even more money doing it that way. Of course, they got them seat views. We love it. Of course, they got that lowest price guarantee. Love that as well. Of course, they got that Game Time ticket coverage, which comes with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. They are awesome. So take that guesswork out of buying those tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that code CHGO. Get yourself $20 off your first purchase.
Terms apply.
I said CHGO. Get yourself $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Tap ticket and go. Game Time for show. Matt Peck, once again, what's up? That wasn't even English.
CHGO Bulls pod. Rolling along. A little while longer on Wednesday afternoon. Hit that like button if you didn't do it during the ad break. All right, before we dive into a little bit of All-Star talk, wanted to tease a little mini pod action we got coming for y'all on Friday when we will be off this week. Big Dave, you want to cue this up?
Yeah, well, we had a very special guest in here last week?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Mayor Brandon Johnson stopped by the studio. Shout out to him. He talked to the Bears that you saw that one that was put out. But he also talked to us about the Chicago Bulls, and two things specifically that he talked about was Derrick Rose, for sure, as D-Rose night is coming up. Can't wait to see you all there and hug y'all and slap fives with y'all and do all that cool stuff. But my main man, Matt Peck, asked him a really, really important question, and the mayor had a really, really important answer for mediocrity. Joey C.
As we look to the present and future of the current Bulls, they're struggling to get off the ground with this younger squad. They've turned the roster over, but they're kind of hovering in that play-in tournament range. Damn the person who invented the play-in tournament. You can say no to this. I want you to say yes. Can you use and wield any of your power from the mayor's office to convince certain people involved with the Chicago Bulls that the play-in tournament and appearing in it every year is not good enough for some Bulls fans who remember better days?
Yeah, in fact, I'm working on an executive order as we speak.
Let's go.
So I got you.
Let's go.
I got you there.
Yes,
so therefore, be it resolved that play-in games is not good enough for our Chicago Bulls, right? No, look, it's tough when you have that, hovering around almost 500. Mm-hmm. And to your point, they are a young team. The game has changed dramatically, right? Since, the way we watched it growing up, mm-hmm. The fact that games end like 135 to 119, right? We were just reliving some of the glory days. And I think, the final game that Michael Jordan played in the Bulls uniform, that incredible iconic shot, I think it was 87?
87, 86.
It was.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 45 then.
You know what I'm saying? Right? 87, 86, that's halftime.
That's right. Right.
So I think that the Bulls, first of all, the fandom is solid.
Sure.
And I think that fans deserve, to have another couple of pieces to be added to this team so that we can get to a point where we're competing not just for a 1 or 2 seed, but to go deep in the playoffs and ultimately to bring a championship back to Chicago.
You're welcome, y'all. A mayoral decree that the play-in tournament is not good enough.
Is that the greatest moment of your career?
I mean, it's got to be up there.
It's got to be up there.
It's up there, man. Like, that's honestly just hearing him say that. I was just like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Shout out Brandon Bills, by the way.
Yeah, shout out. But yeah, that'll be out on Friday, the full interview. Again, just strictly talking Derrick Rose and, Bulls fandom and the current state of the Chicago Bulls. And, yeah, it'll be up Friday for you all to check out.
Check it out. All right, with that remaining time, we have our official all-star starters, assuming, knock on wood, none of them have to drop out for injury reasons, for both the East and West that came out the other day. And they are as follows. In the West, Joker, Luka, SGA, Steph, and Wemby. Wemby won a tiebreaker with Anthony Edwards based on fan voting because of the weighted system of fan, media, and player voting all counting.
Okay.
So he edges out Ant for that 5th starter spot in the West. The East, Giannis, who we were just talking about. Yeah. Cade, Maxey, Jalen Brunson, and Jaylen Brown. Also pretty decent.
Okay.
The question is, now, are those fair? Do we agree that those are the deserving 5 in each? And then, from a Bulls fan's perspective, does Josh Giddey have an outside shot at one of these reserve spots?
I like, first of all, that Tyrese Maxey is being a starter.
He's been incredible.
The East, bro.
He's been incredible.
That's incredible. So shout out to him for that. I don't have a big issue with any of it. I think Anthony Edwards absolutely should be a starter, but then I'm looking like, well, I'm not going to have Steph Curry. Well, I'm not going to have Wemby. Like, what am I going to do on that? But the discrepancy, though, just of the pure star talent between the West and the East, just as far as name recognition and things like that, you look at that and you're like, there's a difference between the East and the West. But to still be interesting, still be fun, still be competitive, hopefully, because we definitely have our opinions, about the All-Star game and the things that should be done or not done to that. But Maxey, dude, that's what stands out for me. Winning that most improved and then improving, even more on top of that thing right there. So, yeah, big up to him.
Yeah, I think they got it pretty much right. I think the one that people are unsure about was Anthony Edwards. I don't really know who you take off there. I mean, Steph is kind of...
Yeah, somebody in the chat just said, kind of surprised Steph made it.
Steph would be the one, but
that's Steph, bro.
It's Steph.
It's Steph.
And then you think about like the Giddey of it all. I wonder if I don't think he's going to be able to make it. I think, and Billy actually talked about this last night. I wrote about it in my instant reaction, so you can go find that. About what Billy had to say about it and just how well Giddey has played. I think, Billy's obviously going to back his guy, but I think he kind of acknowledged that missing the last 11 games is going to hurt his case. He said, there's a strong argument that you can make statistically from the way that he's played, but he's been kind of out of sight, out of mind for the last handful of weeks here, and that hurts him. And then I think you look at the international and American element too, and it's just difficult. The way that it's going to work is they're going to assign all-stars as normal, so 12 per conference. And then with that information, they have to somehow get to 12 per conference. So you have to get to 16 American players and 8 international players.
Correct.
And there's already 5 international players in just the starters. So 3 spots remain for an international player. Cat, I think, can go either way. I think it's just kind of how they assign it. And then you've got, Jamal Murray, I think, is a lock. Şengün should be a lock. Deni Avdija has been outstanding this year.
He deserves it.
And there's, a handful of other players that you could put in that argument, too. Siakam, OG Anunoby. There's just a lot of guys. And so I think it's going to be tough. But basically, if from the result of the 24 All-Stars that are assigned, if there are only 7 or 6 international players, then Adam Silver is just going to pick guys.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if it comes to that, if there's only 6 players, then maybe I think that's kind of the pathway for Giddey to get in. Of course, injuries are another way where if somebody ends up missing time, Giddey could be an alternate. But I don't think with having missed those last couple of weeks, there's really a strong case from anymore, even though statistically, I mean, the guys, and I wrote, the guys who have been able to put up the box score stats that he has, it's like Oscar, Luka, LeBron, and who am I missing? Russell Westbrook. And they've all been All-Stars every year. And Jokic. They've all been All-Stars every year.
There it is.
That they've had numbers like that.
Yeah, man.
So, and like, I think Giddey ended up finishing 21st in fan voting when all of the fan votes were in, just outside the top 20. The first batch of All-Star voting, I think he was 14th among East players. And then second batch was 19th.
Yeah, 19th.
And then final batch 21st. So obviously with him missing a couple of weeks of game action,
that hurt.
During the second and third batch of fan voting happening and voting being open, that probably hurt him a bit. But then when it comes to just determining who these reserve players are going to be, as Go just laid out, the reserve All-Stars, fan voting no longer has anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Unless the coaches who select the All-Star reserves want to take fan voting into account. They don't necessarily have to.
Okay.
That just is what it is.
Sure.
And then, of course, as Go mentioned, the end-all, be-all of to get the 8 international, 16 American balance that they need, then the commissioner himself will come in and make those selections.
Okay.
So, I'm not surprised that Giddey was where he was before he got hurt and where he ended after missing a couple weeks worth of games while fan voting was open, because not to say that he wasn't putting up impressive numbers this season so far, and hopefully will continue to do so when he comes back as soon as tomorrow night.
Yeah.
But I'm like, after a 5-0 start, there was a lot of hype vacuumed out away from the Bulls on the national scale.
Okay, yeah.
I think.
Sure.
Because they were like, oh, the Bulls went back to being a mid team that nobody cares about. So why do we prioritize voting their best player as an All-Star? I
mean, when you're up, you get the praise, you get the love, you get the recognition. When you're down, people forget about it. I mean, that's just normal and commonplace for it. And I think him honestly being right outside the top 20 is kind of, accurate and a little poetic at the same time. You know what I mean? But I think when him coming back and him playing better will definitely put more eyes kind of on that situation. So I think he still has time to do that, still has time to impress, the coaches and things like that for what he's done. But he's been consistent with his numbers all season long. It's just his injury, honestly, I think really, truly kind of set it back. And like you said, Matt, gave people kind of fatigue, you know what I mean, on that. Like, hey, what was that guy? What was his name we were voting for? We all liked? I can't remember it. It's right there. So hopefully, he gets that opportunity to get back and do his thing and get into the All-Star game, because this is honestly a great chance for him to make it.
Yeah, and I think, his case, I think, caters more to the All-Star than it does to high-level playoff performance.
Sure.
We'll see how that goes.
Without a doubt.
If they ever get there. But you look at just the statistical case, it's a very strong one. The games missed, I mean, you look at Franz Wagner, he's missed more games. Denny's team is kind of in the same area code as the Bulls in terms of just sub-average, 500 caliber club. So I think if you just look at the stats, you can make that case, especially in an all-star format where the all defensive type guys aren't really, I mean, you obviously have Wemby, but he's just a superstar.
Yeah.
Chet, I think is going to be an interesting case where he is defensive player of the year favorite right now. Maybe not favorite, but top 2 or 3 in that category, but certainly not putting up the box score numbers. Does that mean that he's a better or worse player than Giddey? I don't know. Does that mean that he has a more or less likely chance of making the All-Star game with the team success? I don't know. So I think it's just going to be interesting to see that, but I don't know what that necessarily means. It's just the All-Star just kind of is its own thing. And I think with this international thing, the more I think about it, the less I like it. I just think it's just another weird attempt to try to get meaning into something that just is okay if guys aren't gonna
just play the game.
Yeah, just play the game. Let's just go back.
They had to try something different, because they keep trying something different, and something different falls flat on its face every time. Yeah. And I think they got to try something different from the different.
I think trying new things is good, and being innovative is good. The more they try and fail, the worse it looks for them.
Yes.
I think.
And also, even pay attention to the league every hour of every day. NBA fans are wait, what are the rules now?
Right.
Even the NBA junkies are sick of all of the All-Star Weekend format
changes. The second apron and how much more complicated that. It's just there's
not
so
trying
many.
To think here, man.
The play-in, it's all these different things are just weird little Band-Aid solutions, the tanking measures that they're gonna do.
And man,
Just
an early 2000s All-Star game with like AI and KG and like Jason Kidd and Kobe like hit my timeline yesterday, and I was like,
yeah. I don't know, Jim.
But I think it's just okay if the All-Star game isn't that competitive. Like, I just don't think that they're going to solve that.
Yeah, it's a thing,
as we go to just a short little overtime session here on CHGO Bulls. Reminder, if you're on our streaming platform partners, Samsung, Comcast, Roku, want bonus coverage, head to allchgo.com. Joe, you had a thought? An All-Star thought?
I was just going to say, like, they overcomplicate it. I'm in agreement with you guys. Like, go back to the elevator pitch. What is the All-Star game? It's the best versus the best.
Yeah.
And now it's, well, now by the weighted score of the international topography of geography, split across 7 different time zones, we will collect, and it's like, dude.
Henceforth, on this day.
Holy cow, man. And then, like, let's just say.
The year of our Lord.
I just don't know, like, what the.
Play Royal Fanfare in order to explain it.
Yeah. You know, what's the scenario where this
group
is
stage first,
such
where you
a
got to
wild
beat Turks
success.
and Caicos before you can play the actual All-Star game.
Yeah, I just think USA versus the world. I don't get it, man. Like, that's what we have the Olympics for.
I think they're trying to find ways. Like,
that's what we have the
international
Olympics
team
for.
should kick USA's ass. Like, they are way more talented. Jokic, Luka, Wemby, Giannis, Shea is unreal as a starting 5.
Yeah.
They should kick the USA's ass.
Should.
And so maybe they're
maybe
trying to say, okay, USA, if you want to compete with these guys, you got to actually bring it. Maybe
that's absolutely what they're trying to say.
But like, who cares? I don't know. I feel like they're just
see if they're
continually trying to do too much, and the more they do and the more it fails, the worse it looks.
Again, I blame LeBron for all this.
And dude, same. And Coco saying in the chat, put Giddey in the 3-point contest for his fans. Are they gonna add like 15 or 20 seconds to his clock compared to the rest of the field?
I don't know, man. I don't know, Jim.
Dude, if anybody on the Bulls is 3-point contest worthy this season, it's Ayo freaking Dosunmu.
50+%.
Are you kidding me?
Bang! That's what he's doing. Do you think it's a chance of Modest Uzelis going back to the dunk contest and trying to redeem himself?
I think Goat said that when he was asked about it recently, he said, if they ask me again, I'll do it again. I wanted to see him win that thing.
Yeah, man.
You know, maybe first time jitters or nerves or just
all that. He owes himself.
But also at the same time, just keep giving me incredible in-game dunks, Modest. That's what I care about more.
That too. That's awesome.
But yeah, we'll see. I haven't heard any word of anybody confirming yet that they are. Like McClung hasn't even said anything.
He is not.
But like, I mean, he's a 3-time champ now.
Yeah, he's got to. Nobody's done 4 in a row.
Right off into the sunset, Mac McClung.
No, man. Nobody's done 4 in a row. Nobody's done 3 in a row like he's done.
Okay, who gets the 4-peat first, Mac McClung or AK?
Oh,
dunk champion, play-in tournament participant.
I don't know, Jim.
The 2 elusive 4-peats that are on the table for the Bulls organization this season.
Which one does Matt want the least?
I think we know. Anything but, for the love of God.
Oh, man.
We got to get out of here for today. Thank you for hanging out with us, Bulls Nation, today. As always, hit the like button on your way out if you haven't done it yet. We'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Game night. Pre-game, 6:30 Central, before Bulls, T-Wolves, Part 2. We'll take a look back at what happened the last time. We'll get an update on Giddey being in or out, hopefully in. Could be a big night for the Bulls to try to get back to 500.
All right.
The opportunity's there on the table. Shout out to our guy, Joey C., King of the Controls. Follow the GOAT, Will Gottlieb. Read his stuff on CHGO.com. Become a diehard with promo code GOAT to take advantage of all of his great writing for diehards only. Big day, bow, BAWL Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. Much love. Have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. I see Red be good.
Love y'all, man.
You know it.
We all silly like the mayor.